I soak up every little bit to sharpen my bones. All grown up, still trying to find my way home. I've never been cleaned or cloned. My heart's never been owned. I'm lonely, but everyone is lonely, so I know that I'm not alone. This road is filled with potholes, but I don't need to tell you something that you already know. We're both sinking in the same boat. I wanted you to stay afloat. I did what I could, but you had to learn to swim on your own. You lost your glow in the glitter and the gold. I couldn't stay alive inside your chokehold. Hold on. I really gotta go, cause I'm not pulling into your hole. Spin my head around. You won't take this one from me. You wanna bring it to the clouds. You will never see, ever see. You will never see the ground. I soak up every little bit to sharpen my skin. No matter how I stand, still pulled by the wind. When intention went limp, wipe the face off my grin. And love me in the name of kill to keep on being good friends. A liar's lips are the best fingerprints. You can fake it isn't there, but I can taste it when we kiss. Tracing paper wrists, I try to draw the line and I miss. One day I'll be able to look back at this and make some kind of sense of it. I'm not another shin to kick. One foot in the grave, both hands on your chin. It took a while to figure out we couldn't coexist, but I'm not pulling into your abyss. Spin my head around. You won't take this one from me. You wanna bring it to the clouds. You will never see, ever see. You will never see the ground. Spin my head around. You won't take this one from me. You wanna bring it to the clouds. You will never see, ever see. You will never see the ground.
It's the local show on 89.3 The Current, and I'm joined in the studio today by Eyedea and Abilities. That's a track called Spin Cycle. It's the second of quite a few off the new record, By the Throat, which came out this past week. Gentlemen, thanks so much for taking the time to come in here.
Thanks for having us.
Between jet setting back and forth to doing shows on the Rock the Bells tour. Is that what it is, that you guys are out on the road overnighters?
Yeah, it's we pretty
How
much.
you holding up?
It's kind of hard for both of us. We pretty much fly all the way across the country and drive all the way across the country every weekend to play for 20 minutes. So it's a little tough, but
It's an amazing tour. It's Nas and Damian Marley, Cypress Hill's on the bills, Ice Cube. You made a funny comment about how you were kind of like the sort of the sonically outcasts, and I think that's absolutely probably the case based on what I've heard of the new record, and that's not a bad thing. I think that this is a really inventive and ambitious sound, or a collection of sounds that you've created. How do you deal with that when you're in the live setting and people just want to hear like mainstream hip hop? Ready, go.
Well, ultimately what just happens is you do what you do and people walk away or they stay, you know?
Yeah.
It's
yeah, it's a little
I
bit.
suppose you can't really bend too much to please the crowd.
if you change what you're doing and people still don't like it, then you have absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And then if you're changing what you're doing and people like it, then you're still unfulfilled because you're not doing what you want to do. the one thing that you can do in that setting is try to pick the songs that you do like, that you do think will come across the best. And I think that we have done that. And I think that it is successful because I think we're reaching a lot of people who wouldn't have necessarily gave our record a chance. But when it's right there in front of them, they can go, oh yeah, I do like this.
And if you're listening to this now, you're not going to hear what these guys are doing in the studio today and be like, whoa, that's like the weirdest thing I've ever heard. I mean, it's not like that, but you know, I mean,
what's strange is I don't think it's all that out. You know, I think we've made stranger music. You know,
certainly you have in the last few years. It's been an interesting watching you. I think I first met you and you were, or at least saw you when you were, the hype man for Atmosphere way back in the day. And you were really young. I mean, what, like 18 or something?
I was even younger than that because by the time I was 18, when we were like 18 and 20, that's kind of when we broke away from the Atmosphere thing and really started doing Eyedea and Ability stuff. So a lot of it, I was younger than that. And some of the battles, I think the Scribble Jam battle, I think I was 17. So yeah, we were pretty young when we were doing that, you know, which is part of why it kind of took us a while to really establish ourselves as our own band, you know, and as our own kind of movement and our own thing.
We've come a long way since the battle rap days, you know. I mean, it's certainly interesting to see what turns your crank today as opposed to what it was back in, 10 years ago or 8 years ago or whatever. When you took time off after the E&A record back in 2004 for a couple years to do all this other stuff, like you did the Face Candy and Carbon Carousel, which was like, what did the guy say? You playing the 6-stringer now?
Oh, yeah. You playing 6-string now, man? Check out my calluses.
Learn the guitar and, all sorts of other instruments. Was that a conscious decision that the two of you made to take time off and kind of learn more about being musicians and being artists, or
it wasn't a collective
were you just
decision.
worn out?
I think we're just like, we don't want to do stuff anymore. And then we're both still musicians, so we still both did things.
Yeah.
But we weren't like, all right,
you go learn this.
You do that, I'll do this.
Yeah.
Hut.
I'll see you in 3 years.
Yeah.
You learn music theory, I'll get my acting and modeling down, and when we come back together, we'll take over the world, man.
Well, you're on your way.
What is interesting, since you mentioned Carbon Carousel, is some of the lyrics for this Eyedea and Abilities record were kind of recycled Carbon Carousel songs.
I recognize this one.
Yeah, so
the line about the devil at the top.
Yeah. So people that have seen that band play in town were like, oh yeah, I remember that. But some of those songs didn't ever really go anywhere. So I kind of like to reuse things because I'm lazy.
You got a good idea. Work at it.
Funny though, because that song did turn out well, and that beat is by far the oldest beat too.
I think this was the first.
Ago.
Yeah, this is the first one that we did when we came back together and started playing. And actually, that's kind of how it worked. Is I remember Max called me up one day and he was like,
I think that we were doing a show and that's how it was.
Yeah,
it was like you were like, let me try this on top of this, and I was like, that sounds cool.
Yeah,
and then it
was pretty much made
worked.
For a show. We were like, well, if we're gonna play again, we need to have something new. And he had this track, and then I was like, well, I have these Carbon Carousel lyrics. Let's go. And then it wound up being, this song, So
the 2-man football team. I like that. I like that metaphor. All right, why don't you do another track off the record? What are you gonna play next year?
You want to do Burn Fetish?
Sure.
It's Eyedea and Abilities on the local show.
Teeth marks on the skin. The greatest trick the devil ever played was convincing me that I was him. We like to feel the blood and fat dripping off our gums. She likes to talk directly down the barrel of her gun. Learning to perfect the ancient art of quiet rape. You've always been so warm and calculated. I owe you a thanks. Eyes wide shut, I promise not to fall awake. Lick the guillotine, tell me how the gasoline tastes. The grass is always greener on the other pesticides. I'll impress the crept through the mess and shed its infectious high. What's for me to know when you define guilty? The almighty praise adrenaline, such an underwhelming thrill. Where there's a will, there's a wake. Burn me at the stake. Who the hell am I trying to fool? I'm a fool, I feel so fake. One last goodbye before I take my 45 shooter. Hole in the sky, rip it open and climb inside. Empathy is the poor man's cocaine. Love is just a chemical by any other name. I like the way your pheromones make me sleepy. As far away I still smell you inside me. Empathy is the poor man's cocaine. Love is just a chemical by any other name. I like the way your pheromones make me sleepy. As far away I still smell you. Tie me down till my sweet nothing sour. I screwed up trying to squeeze 65 minutes from an hour. Outnumbered by such a large amount. No wonder why we lost the battle. The counterculture can't count. Welcome to my private hell. There's no one to fight now. Enjoy myself. Rather drown than ask for help. I wish I was someone else. Mr. Perfect, misconstrued. Lead the way, follow through. You probably hate me, I do too. You're so much like me, I feel sorry for you. I think you're pretty sure. You will profit, you will get hurt. I eat my words, they taste like dirt. I'm only ashamed because I know what it's worth. Find my comfort inside blame. Shove my pride back down my face. My worst habits, waking up at least once a day. Balance barefoot on a needle, heaven's just a jump away. Empathy is the poor man's cocaine. Love is just a chemical by any other name. I like the way your pheromones make me sleepy. As far away I still smell you inside me. Empathy is the poor man's cocaine. Love is just a chemical by any other name. I like the way your pheromones make me sleepy. As far away I still smell you inside me.
The local show on 89.3 The Current. I'm joined in the studio today by Eyedea and Abilities. That's a track off their new record, By the Throat, that they're performing right here for an audience of one, which is the way I like it, man. I'm spoiled. I can't even go to a real show anymore. There's all these other people hanging around. I gotta book them on the show if I want to see the band. That's not true, but you guys got a bunch of shows happening. Unfortunately, most of them are not in the area, though that's okay because there's quite a few current listeners on the internet. So, out with Atmosphere through the 21st of August, you're going to kind of go all the way through the Midwest and down to San Diego. Then you're on your own for a couple of dates with Christoph Crane up through the Northwest, and then back to the great state of Minnesota. Next in-town gig, Friday, September 4th at the Varsity Theater, along with Christoph Crane. You know, it was a really cool thing that you did at the Intermedia Arts show where you did the entire record, all of By the Throat, front to back, right? Mm-hmm. Do you have plans to do more of that? Is that something that people can expect at the Varsity Theater gig, or are you going to play jams from all eras?
All eras, definitely.
Yeah. What was that like doing this whole thing that you had been working on for a huge break of time, trying to do the whole thing live? I don't think a lot of people have that experience. Was that a strange,
weird,
a little bit weird?
Definitely.
Yeah, it was strange, but we're the kind of group that doesn't really rehearse, so it was kind of nice to have the first time that we actually really ran through the stuff and played it was in front of people, and it's kind of nice to do that because it forces you into kind of figuring out quickly what's wrong, what do I have to change, and how do I really apply this to a live setting. So it was like the first time we played at least more than half those songs. It was the first time we even played them since we recorded them, and so that was cool. And we also did it was kind of a breakdown of how we made some of the music. And so we got the opportunity to explain some of it, which was nice, you know.
It was
the
cool.
classic VH1 storytellers format.
Yeah, totally.
That works, man. There's a reason people love that show.
There was one thing that was definitely wrong with it, and if anybody wants to do that in the future and are thinking about it, don't play the record before you play the record. They had it playing, like it must have played like 3 times before we got on stage, and it was not cool. It was very anticlimactic. So play anything but the record.
That happens at in-stores all the time.
I was like, yeah. I was like, change the record. Why are you playing this right now? There's going to be no excitement about hearing this, and that was very unfortunate.
Lesson learned.
It still was cool, but yeah.
It was a really fun experience though, and I think it was special for us because it was such an intimate setting, and it was kind of invite only. And what was nice about it is everyone there was really interested in in listening to the new thing, you know. Whereas sometimes when you play a show, you know, especially the more kind of successful you get, you know, it's not always like that. Like
people come because it's a good place to be, but
yeah.
maybe not so much to listen. Maybe they're trying to get the girl's phone number over in the corner,
right? Or you know, there's like a.
But on the flip side, the music isn't made to be listened to sitting down, and that's how it was, and I don't like that.
Yeah, you need people standing, bouncing.
It's made to be standing and moving around. Yeah.
There, you know, I will say though, this is kind of a headphones record. There's a lot going on. I could tell it was. You guys did all this on your own, right? You recorded all this on your own.
Yeah.
JT Bates playing on some tracks, Casey O'Brien playing on some tracks, Jeremy Ovasacker throwing down some huge fuzz bass on a couple of tracks. And there's a lot going on. I mean, you're running the records through a delay. You know, there's some elements of sort of psychedelic, sort of a
psychedelic.
There's
mints.
a psychedelic mints on this thing. Well, if you were to do this thing over again, would you do it all yourselves, or would you go farm it out, get more of the Rhymesayers team involved, or would you do it exactly like you did it?
I think pretty much it's going to be a similar format.
Yeah,
I think we're kind of better at keeping everything contained between the two of us and then close friends, because that way you can kind of just tap into what the song is about and just do it. You know, it doesn't have to become this big process where all these people are analyzing it and overanalyzing it and overthinking it. Like we really try to focus on like getting good takes of things, making sure that the emotional kind of power is there, and then getting out of the studio and putting it down, you know, saying that was it. That was a performance, you know, rather than this like long drawn out production with all these people.
Sadiq doesn't sit in front of you guys and pull a Barry Gordy and be like, what you need to do is throw a bridge in right here.
I definitely, if there was somebody's opinion I would take out of the camp, I would take his. So if I had an idea, I was like, well, maybe half and half. He'd be a good person's brain to pick on it.
Yeah, he has a great ear.
That's key. That's
Yeah.
probably why.
But it's weird because it's on his forehead, so that's like.
Well, it's a more direct shot from the speakers then.
Right.
You want to do another tune?
Yeah. What do you want to do, Max?
This story.
This story.
From the new record, By the Throat, it's Eyedea and Abilities on the local show.
When I was young, I was a single-celled amoeba. Then I learned how to go to war over ideas. Now I'm in the strip and Mother Earth cover resources, waiting for the day that today's considered prehistoric. Standing on my last limb, survived by a naked rush. This story was written in my genetic code. Standing on my last limb, survived by a naked rush. This story was written in my genetic code. Standing on my last limb, survived by a naked rush. This story was written in my genetic code. Standing on my last limb, survived by a naked rush. This story was written. No, I don't want to, but if I have to, I'll make a big mistake. There's no judge or jury when you're looking at adrenaline in the face. Years of refinement to make this machine, and I'm gonna use it to the best of my ability. My body as my armor will protect my brain from bruising. Even though it secretes its poisonous power, I almost lose it. Vomit and nuisance, diluted in the blood. Cause if I ever got a full blast, the rush would be too much. Now you can hear the break in his grown-up voice. You can feel the quiver when you shake his hand. You can give or take, it's no one else's choice. One day you have to quit running and take a stand. And all the flags at half-mast heart, heavy heart, part pain. And I was trained not to think, just react. Sometimes when a person goes that far, they're never coming back. Maybe we'll evolve to a point where fear is an experience, is no longer instinctual, but rather an emotion we use to enrich our understanding of why human ancestors killed each other when we could have loved each other. One day we'll be holding hands instead of grudges, eliminate our territorial circuits and know what love is. One day we'll be holding hands instead of M16s, so then every human being is controlled by the fight.
Thanks, guys. Web exclusive. My casted wings are almost stubs now. You rolling? I'm champagne. Let's all go home, kill ourselves and our radios. Where's my head? This isn't mine. Nobody loves a thing. Everyone's going crazy in control. It's not my fault. They'll be sorry once I skin them. Scared to life, painless death. Make sure she knows I love her right before she floats away. I can't hear you. Screams too loud. All my ideas become perfect little blind spots. Fold me in, tucked away. I'm starting to think I never learned what I need to learn. All things past, we bruise skin, holding on to things that we shouldn't be allowed to keep. Make them proud, dredged in guilt. Call me when the miracle reduces to coincidence. My casted wings are almost stubs now. I can't feel a thing, just like you promised. I was always bad at being good. I was always bad at being good. I was always bad.
There's no hell more harsh than the memory. There's no home more hell than the emptiness. Winter takes the warm away, spring takes the cold away, summer takes the rain away, and fall took away my friend. I believe there's never a place better than right where you are. Although imagining an afterlife can tend to mend a broken heart over someone dead, it's my way of coping with loss. But I don't need you out there somewhere if I have you in my thoughts. I don't envy anyone in a position where they're forced to choose, pull the plug or not. Can't tell if this is for me or you. Mean I know you're sick, tired and confused, but sometimes letting the tired go to sleep is the best thing to do. I will hold your head while the doctor sticks the needle in. I'll always remember our companionship and what you meant. And on Sunday, October the 5th, you took your last breath. You will be missed. My casted wings are almost stubs now. I can't feel a thing, just like you promised.